Hi YouTube, and this is my first YouTube video. Decided to step beyond the realm of Facebook and outside of my comfort zone finally, and here I am. I'm going into the wild open here. My name is the Rogue Scholar, as you can call me. It'd be my moniker, because I guess every modern day digital warrior's got to have some kind of cool name these days, right? So this is my first and probably not my only attempt to get on YouTube. Anyway, the point here is that what is the purpose of this channel? The purpose of this channel is to serve as an outlet, a place to gather, somewhere for all my friends to come to, people who feel this likewise, people who are tired. If you're really tired of, just taking on the chin from the world, and you want to hear from someone who, feels like you do, the average guy. Look, I don't have 1 million subscribers. I probably never will. I've got a lot of people are questioning even why I'm bothering trying to do this in my life, but I've been sitting here and I consume so much, online. I felt that it's time to give back and to try to add to the conversation in some way. So I have a lot of different interests. I'm sure you do too as well. The whole point of this channel is to talk about things that are of interest to myself, obviously, and hopefully for you. I'm not going to let an algorithm dictate, the pace and, the rate in which I'm going to upload content. I'll get to it when I can. I will try to moderate the channel as best as I can. I have friends that are going to be coming on board. Hopefully, maybe some of you will be wrenches. If I ever get to live streaming or commentary, moderators, things like that, But more importantly is the discussion, the discourse that we no longer have in this country that is safe, For example, Gina Carano, her firing at Disney is kind of the reasoning why I'm jumping into this. I felt and feel that Gina Carano's firing over the last 3 days from Lucasfilm and ultimately Disney was the line in the sand. They're unpersoning her. What they're doing to her is just absolutely abhorrent and absolutely unthinkable. And I know there's a lot of arguments to that right now. Like some people are sitting here and saying things like, well, she broke her contract and she deserves not to have her job anymore. Well, I'd like to see her contract, for starters. And I'd like to see what and how she said, and what she said was so abrasive, in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I get it. I understand when you're a public figure, you're held to a different standard than most other people, and that's fine. I applaud to that as well. For example, I know a lot of people are gonna eventually come for me, but what was done to Gina Carano was a validation of all the cancel culture and an absolute slap to the face of every fan who loves art and decency and loves the genre, and more importantly, a direct slap to every Star Wars fan out there. I myself, I'm not saying I'm the most rabid fan in the world. I can't tell you I've read all the EU novels. I've seen the movies. I watched some Disney Plus. I've kept up on the lore of it to some degree. So, I mean, yeah, I can engage in a light conversation with a real Star Wars fan, but it's not just about the fact that this was done to the fandom. It's the social effect of this and the social cost of these public lynchings that we're having in the digital battlefield, in the great culture war. We're in the culture war, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. I'm going to circle back, as Jen Psaki likes to say. Wow. Anyway, what was done to Gina Carano, and my heart goes out to you, Gina. You will never see this probably, but I want you to know personally that I cannot begin to imagine what it feels like to be you, to wake up every morning, to live under such scrutiny, to have such a microscope of mediocrity dropped upon you, and then to be unpersoned and to be surrounded by people who obviously were so fake to you, and to, to be removed from, such a great position in life, and you've worked so hard for it, and my heart goes out to you. Nothing but respect. I wish I could have half the dedication you have to your craft and what you represent to all of us as fans and as people, as human beings. You have suffered so much, and you've done it with such grace and dignity, and it's inspiring to many of us. And it's one of the reasons why I've decided to pick up my phone and to join the YouTube community. And as the Rogue Scholar, I'm going to talk about these tough subjects with a lot of you out there, and hopefully some of the, more interesting personalities, or the most interesting personalities available. I'd love to continue to bring forth the really good ideas, or maybe a different spin on something, or an obscure fact that will add to the conversation. This isn't the first time in history we've gone through these kinds of things, this type of a cultural upheaval. But more importantly, the firing of Gina Carano is a cultural event that I've never seen the internet light up so hard about something before, besides, obviously, like, Don Trump or some of the similar things that he talks about, or some of the things whenever the media went after Trump, it was just always this huge microphone and just amplifying it, and, amplifying the each side of the argument, the vitriol. And, but what's been done to Gina is indicative of a deeper problem in our society, and that's this intolerance on both sides of the aisle right now. These extremist voices, from the woke SJW culture to the other side of it, the few racists that are out there, the racisms that are supposedly everywhere, by the way. I don't subscribe to that. I think that racism was something that was going away in this country and was well on its way out until the last few years. And it's been done for a reason, and it's been done to divide us. And they're using people like Gina Carano as a pawn in their political games. And this is one of the biggest issues we're looking at right now, is that we are not separating our politics from our discourse and entertainment. And this ugly thing like confirmation bias and this need to conform at every cost that's being driven by many on each side of this is absolutely and wholly unnecessary. The greatest of minds are the minds that Aristotle once said that it's the greatest of minds that can argue something dispassionately from both sides of it, and not end up being collected, by their hatred or their bias. What they're basically saying is the idea of playing devil's advocate. And sometimes I'm going to play devil's advocate. It's not going to be very popular. I don't think either side is 100% correct. I think we have a long way to go. But the unpersoning of Gina Carano is absolutely just unreal. And to see how certain people within Lucasfilm are probably using this as some kind of a springboard to regain the cultural narrative, or control the cultural narrative within that IP, and possibly across a large portion of the pop culture landscape of America, is absolutely just sickening, and it's disgusting behavior. I've watched a lot of internet videos from a lot of different sources, from Doomcock to Gary Beegler to the other side of it. And this idea that, Kathleen Kennedy is asserting control over Lucasfilm through this is a very reasonable and rational statement to make. It is very clearly well documented in the way that Jon Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy have set up each of their narrative storytelling camps. For example, let's look at the High Republic, for example, and you can see clearly the SJW level politics, and that the writers have clearly been tweeting these racist commentaries and saying horrible things about white people because it's just simply politically okay to do so. But yet Gina Carano sits here and she kicks out a simple couple of memes on her Twitter and other various social accounts basically just lay out the unpersoning process and the slippery slope that we are in. She's giving social commentary. This isn't political. She didn't say that Democrats or Republicans were doing, she just posted a picture. But yet Pedro Pascal can do the same thing with a picture of, of the children behind in the cage from 2018 and comparing it to the same thing, and yet nothing said. And it's this duality of behavioral standards that are simply just not cohesive in a polite society, in a society such as ours. And we cannot sit here and just unperson somebody because the current popular political opinion of the time is simply opposite or does not match up or line up with the person that you don't particularly like. It's abhorrent. This is wrong. Kathleen Kennedy, I do believe, absolutely had something to do with this. I'm sure, some people are saying that Jon Favreau turned his back on her. I can't believe that. I simply can't. I can believe that Jon Favreau probably did everything he could to protect her. She is the most popular character on The Mandalorian. She's a wonderful person. I've never met her, but I know people who've talked to her. And she is nothing but one of the most kind, gentle, and genuine person. And that's just such a rare thing in this day and age. She's such a genuine person. And what they've done to Gina is absolutely, it's just, this is a line. And we have to do something about it. So I myself took the step and I canceled my Disney Plus, account. And I will not be watching anything through Disney by paying for it anymore. I will maybe consider doing reviews of the show. It's something I've kind of dabbling in, some of the ideas for the channel right now. But as of right now, I will not purchase any Disney products. Now, let's look at this, for example. I mean, you're sitting here live, you're going to say, well, look at you, you've got tons of Disney products and representations of those products sitting right here in your broadcast room. And you're right. You are absolutely correct. But I'm not going to turn around and get rid of all this. I'm not going to try to actively give Disney my money. And this is not an act of cancellation to Disney. This is me exercising my right and saying, I don't agree with what they are doing. I don't want to see Disney burn. I don't want to see Disney fall apart. I want to see Disney course correct and become fair in its application of its behavioral standards. Like if they fired Pedro Pascal tomorrow and said, hey, we're not going to deal with you no more, okay, because you did the same thing as Gina did, then I would be perfectly fine. This would be perfectly okay. But it's not okay. It's a line, and it is dangerous territory. And she is absolutely correct in her context of that post, I feel. And I know a lot of other people, I'm sure, out there believe the same. And if you're here, maybe you do too as well. Leave it in the comments box. I'm not gonna give up my Infinity Gauntlet here because I disagree with everything that Disney did, because Disney didn't always own Marvel. Disney didn't own all these characters. I was a fan of Marvel comic books long before they ever went to Disney. Been drawing Iron Man since I was in 8th, 7th, 6th grade, Fing Fang Foom, and just being a fan. But the point here is what Kathleen Kennedy has done in the background. She has destroyed a great show. I am sure that Jon Favreau did everything he could. There's talk about the potential changing of the guard of Kathleen Kennedy leaving in October or September. She'll probably retire. This new person's going to come in. I hope that this brings about a different change. Maybe they'll bring Gina back. That would be great. It'll make up for what's been done here. But I do think that there's a line that's been crossed that it's got to stop. They're impeaching people like Trump. They're impeaching, which, by the way, he just was acquitted. That's so awesome. Thank God. But this doesn't absolve those senators. We're going to talk about that in another video someday. Anyway, these are public lynchings. They lynched Gina Carano. They've canceled her toy line. I'm shocked they haven't taken away her social media yet, that they haven't fully unpersoned her. When you approach that stage in a society, when you don't protect the citizens and the dissidents, the political dissidents, those who are, and protect their speech and protect them from the other more aggressive side, or maybe the more popular side, or those with the power, that society cannot remain cohesive. It cannot. And it catalyzes revolution. Human beings we don't operate that way. You cannot sit here and come into my home and tell me how to think. That's not how this works. If you were to respect this and we were to have a calm discussion about it and then agree to disagree and walk away and then could go have a beer like many people could 30 years ago, we'd be in a lot better shape. Which leads to all the frustration a lot of people out there are probably feeling. I mean, this Gina Carano thing, it crosses over into politics, and it crosses over into every aspect of our lives, because I myself have been experiencing the wrath of cancel culture. I have groups of people at my school that are coming after me, both politically, personally, and at my job, trying to get me thrown out of my home, trying to get me thrown out of the school, trying to get me fired from my job. I know many other people are going through that right now too. Wow. Where are we going, people? Come on. This has got to stop. The enemy is well organized, and they are engaging us, and we are in a war. Open war is upon us. As they've said in Lord of the Rings, it doesn't matter whether you want war or not. It is already being waged upon you. Hence the Great Culture War. Now, we've always been in a great culture war. I'm currently researching a documentary, my first social documentary I'm going to kick out. It's going to be called The Great Culture War. And we're going to take a fine look at humanity before and after a certain event, which is called the agro-agrarian movement. Now we're going to become scholars. I'm going to break out some rogue scholar on you. The agro-agrarian event was 10,000 years ago. It was before we could grow large amounts of food. And we learned how to farm. And then we learned how to, generate all this extra food, which generate larger population centers. And then these larger population centers formed stronger tribes. And then certain other tribes grew more people through, population reproduction. And they would have extra food. And they discovered they could march large armies across large swaths of territory. Hence Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, all these other modern day conquerors. Well, this was happening just after the agro-agrarian movement. Well, before that time, tribes of humans just had a simple vertical collective structure of hierarchy, tribal leaders, elders, things like that. And then what happened was, when you have this marching army that comes across, because they had the extra food to go there, and could take resources and conquer, you would have all of a sudden 20, 30, 40 different tribes all underneath one big tribe. Well, how do you unite them? You have to create something called law. Hence the birth of the state. The power of the state. Because each tribe had its own culture. Okay? Much like what we have now. We have many different cultures out there. Some of them identify with politics. Some of them identify with popular culture. Some of them identify with sports. Some of them identify with just smelling bad. Who knows, right? There are so many different cultures out there. And in order for them to unite, they have to unite underneath common universal tropes, which are enforced by law, hence the birth of the state. Okay? Well, that is throughout history is what's been going on since the last 10,000 years. The formation of nation states, the formations of great societies, which are organized underneath principles of morals, principles of ideological functions for economics, the idea of contractarianism, Marxism versus capitalism versus socialism versus anarchical capitalism versus, being a pacifist versus being aggressive. All these are functions within society and culture in itself. Okay, and it leads to a psychological state of the populace reaching this homeogenic state, meaning of stability, of balance, of equalness to some degree, where you have what we would then consider discourse, the rise of academia, for example. Thomas Jefferson forming the schools, the college system of America, the university system, all right? And each of those had their own cultures. And there's the culture of academia versus that of the commoner, all right? Well, how does this relate to the whole Gina Carano thing and the Great Culture War? It's called atomization. Okay, we're experiencing what I call cultural atomization. It has been brought on by the internet. It has been brought on by actually a bunch of different, phenomena that have conspired to come together. And some of those are, well, the conflicts between generational cycles, for starters. We all know millennials are, we label each other. That's Strauss and Howe. That's a generational cycle, the Sackleian. Geopolitical conflicts, like, nation states, the Cold War, things like that, which we're in the midst of a geopolitical war with China and other forces across the world. Environmental. Whether you believe in global warming or not, the policies and the culture of global warmists and their ideologies reaching into our lives. And it's this great intersection, unchecked corporate power, which is all around us. The technocracy, for example, falls into this. The conditions of society, wealth disparity, but most importantly is this idea of the interpretation and the catalyzation of the human condition, how we see ourselves as human beings. That's a culture in itself. It's philosophy. It's everything. We all have these wide ranges of experiences, And Gina Carano's firing is an indicator that all of these forces are converging, and it's tearing us all apart because we don't know where to go. Solving even the simplest of problems has become impossible for us. The Great Culture War, where you can die 1,000 times on the digital battlefield only to rematerialize or respawn. Till you either say something really stupid or you end up getting canceled forever, for real, here, right now. These are just some of the things I'm going to be covering on this channel. I'm going to be a lot more than just pop culture and just plain politics. You guys can get enough of that from Tim Pool and all them. And while I will talk about politics on this channel, another area I want to talk about is I want to talk about personal health, your mental health. This is something I've battled and struggled with for a very long time in the face of the stresses of the modern day life of a normal just guy out there just trying to, get the most he can out of the human condition, this idea that, we're normal people. And I want this channel to be indicative of that. I am not just going to be about comic books and pop culture and politics. This is going to be the study of the human condition and how it relates to all of you out there who are in the fields. We're the ones that are, living in this. It's easy to sit at the top, or it's easy to sit on a perch with in an office and just make your money here. And no, I just don't care about any of that. I want to bring back the passion to YouTube. I want to bring back the oddities. I want to talk about things that are wonderful and dreadful at the same time. And I want to bring something into all of your lives that you will enjoy. And I'm open to ideas. I'm open to debate. I'm admit right now, I've been a troll in the past on YouTube. I've said a lot of stuff I'm not very happy with. I've done things in my life. But I think it's those failures in life and the growth from those that make us better people. I have to get off the sideline. And I want all of you to get off the sideline with me. And I want you to be heard. And I want the digital legions of the scholar to get out there. I want you to help me engage in this great culture war. And it's not about us winning it. It's about us shaping the future of humanity with this powerful force in front of us. You matter. You make a difference. This is your life. You have every right to live it. Let's live it together, and let's steer this ship, into a direction we can all agree with to some degree. Let us build the bridge to the future, and let's forge it on the hearts of the individuals and the power of the individual, what we bring to this community called humanity. Let's do that. This channel is going to be a lot bigger than anything. I'll try to get up as much content as I can. I will try to increase my production quality as much as I can. And most importantly, I'm going to try to engage you. Not just the fan. No. A person. I'm not going to try to label you. I don't want to put you into a box. I don't want, oh yeah, it's just, one of my subscribers. No, you and your voices matter. Even the negative ones, even you negative guys, you're going to come out here and you're going to hit me. You're going to slap me in the face. You might be a person from my past. You don't like me. I'm leaving that all behind here. That's getting left behind. I don't have time for that. If you're going to come here just to pick, your battles with me from 15, 10 years, last week, I just don't, no. Take it somewhere else. Take your aggression and your anger somewhere else. Because you know what? I got to stow mine. One of the most important things I've recently learned is about the fine art of stoicism and not following the flock, and learning how to develop the thick skin necessary to come to this point where I'm posting this onto YouTube for all of you. And I want all of you out there to go on this journey with me. I want you guys to put your glasses on, and I want you guys to read the forbidden book of knowledge with me. And we will grow, and hopefully this channel will grow, and hopefully we'll come to another place that we can all be proud of. So, I don't know what else to say. You guys have a wonderful day, and have a good night. Talk to you later. Peace.